Yatazachaaq, blow the horn. Right, face the east. All praises to the Most High God for bringing us here together to celebrate the opening of the Feast of Nicanor and giving us our heritage and bringing us back to where we were before, the children of Israel, and giving us back our laws and our heritage. Because many of our people are stuck in the world and they do not know the ways of the Most High God, but He has given us that opportunity to worship Him in spirit and truth. Now let me open up with the 10 Commandments in the Hebrew. La'a, Yahaya, Laka, Alahayam, Akaryam, Alpanya, La'a, Ta'aisha, Laka, Pasal, Wala'a, Ta'aipadam, La'a, Talakwaka, Sham, Yahweh, Bashawa, Zakar, Hayawam, Hashabat, Lakwadashwa, Kabad, Abaka, Wamaka, La'a, Yatazachaaq, La'a, Tana'ab, La'a, Taganab, La'a, Ta'ina, Shakor, La'a, Takamad, Kal, Asherah, Loa'aika, Ba'asham, Hamashiach, Yahushai, Amen. Get it into English.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 6 and verse 9. After this manner therefore pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thy is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. And if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you forgive men not their trespasses, neither would your Father forgive thee. Mashiach Yahushai, the water the Yad. Amen.
Amen. The Lord's Prayer in ancient Hebrew. Repeat after me. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Haya, Shamkar, Yahweh, Malakwatkar, Taba'ar, Yatazachaaq, Haya, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa'a, Haya, Bashamayim, Natananawa, Lakam, Kayawam, Wasalaknawa, Kawatinawa, Kasalaknawa, Kawabatinawa, Wala'a, Tabayanawa, Banasayawan, Abal, Awashainawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Malakwa, Waha'ala, Watai Parath, La'aiwalamium, Basham, Hamashiach, Yahushai, the water, Tamyad, Amen. In English.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 20, and verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt not have no other God before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or is in the earth beneath, or is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I am the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the third and the fourth generation of them that hate me, and show mercy unto thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the Lord God's name in vain, for the Lord will not hold them guiltless that taketh thy name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But on the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy sons, nor thy daughters, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy strangers that are within thy gates. For 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, and the sea, and all that therein is, and rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the seventh day, and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor thy manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. By Shema Mashiach Yahushai, the water the yard, Amen.
Okay, come. I want to say all praises to the Most High God, power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and that He watch over all the children of Israel that's celebrating this feast and this holy day, and that you stay attentive to our prayers, and that you forgive us for our iniquities, and that even though we are rehearsing the righteous acts in these last days, that you don't punish us and cast us out for our shortcomings, but you acknowledge our efforts, that we are trying to serve you in the spirit of truth and the spirit of righteousness, that we turn towards your holy place and we have our hands held high in the spirit of the Mashiach Yahushai to serve you. All that I say in the name of Mashiach Yahushai, by Shem Mashiach Yahushai, Tuwarat Miyar, Amen.
Amen.
Be seated. So tonight we'll be going over the story of Nicanor that is found in the last chapter of the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 15. Does anybody already know who Nicanor is? Do you know anything about him? What he did, and what events took place in the book of Maccabees? A little bit like Nicanor. Do you know who he is?
Nicanor, he was a Roman.
Nicanor was a Greek. During this time, our people was under the Greeks. We had our own country, but we was under their control. That's why you see in the New Testament time, you see the Romans. There's a skip at the end of Malachi. We was under what empire our people? No.
Greeks.
No. Arian?
Persians?
Khan. All praises. We was under the Persians, and then out of nowhere we jumped in, and you see in Matthew 1 we're under the Romans. In between that, the prophet Daniel prophesied we would be under who? The Greeks. They would rise. We're covering this section in the story that's found in the book of Maccabees. Let's get right to it.
Page 156.
In the Apocrypha.
This is the book of Colossians, chapter 3, verse 17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Mashiach Yahushai, giving thanks to the Abba and the Father by Him.
Okay. We're going to go to 2 Maccabees, chapter 15, verse 1.
If you got the red apocryphal, page 156. Everybody there?
2 Maccabees, say again.
2 Maccabees, chapter 15, verse 1. And page 156. If you got the red apocryphal. You ready? This is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 15, and verse 1. But Nicanor, hearing that Judas and his company were in a strong place about Samaria, resolved without any danger to set upon them on the seventh day.
On what day?
On the seventh day.
We read it. We went over the Ten Commandments. The Sabbath day is the holy day the Most High commanded from the beginning that our Father should keep. That we should rest, and it should be held as a feast day. It is the highest day out of the 7 days the Most High God gave us. Nicanor, he understood that our people would be in a state of worship, would be in a state of praise. We wouldn't be in a warlike state on a Sabbath day to fight. So he chose, let's fight them on the Sabbath day. He chose that day to try to overcome and fight our people. It's no new thing that these heathens do that. They choose things that are against our commandments to come against us. If we can't eat pork, they're going to put pork in everything. Don't you see that in this society? Everything has pork in it because they know that the children of Israel were amongst these heathens. So if we're in iniquity with them, they get to continue, they get to prosper, and they get to grow. So that's why they use things that are against our commandments, like homosexuality. That's against God's laws, but they overflow it in the media. Keep going.
Verse 2. Nevertheless, the Jews that were compelled to go with him said, O destroy it not so cruelly and barbarously, but give honor to the day which he has seized all things, had honor with holiness above other days.
Or what?
Above other days.
The Sabbath day is the highest day of the week. And the Most High God gave that as a covenant to our fathers. Keep going.
Then the most ungracious wretch demanded, if there were a mighty one in heaven that had commanded the seventh day to be kept, and when he said, there is in heaven a living Lord and mighty, who commanded the seventh day to be kept. Verse 5. Then said the others, and I also am mighty upon earth, and I commanded to take arms and to do the king's business. Yet he obtained not to have his wicked will done.
Stop right there. Get me Proverbs chapter 16 verse 18. This man did bold statements. He said, is there even a power in heaven that commanded such a thing? He put himself over the works of the will of the Most High God, and the will of the Most High God to his people. Read that precept. 16 and 18.
Come. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 16 and verse 18. Pride goes before destruction.
What?
Pride goes before destruction.
There's no other heathen race on this earth that's so prideful than the so-called white man. He said, is there even a God in heaven? Give me Psalms 96 and 5. Because all the heathens, they worship idols. These idols, they don't exist, but they can come to a common understanding that there is a God. Their God is wrong. We have the true, and we worship the true living God, but they understand there's a higher entity out of here. Nicanor said, what power? There is no power in heaven. Right? Read.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 96 and verse 5. For all the gods of the nations are idols.
Their idols what?
But the Most High made the heaven.
And that's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And the priest was telling him, this Sabbath day, don't come against us. If any day of the week, don't come on this day. But he said, is there any other God? He's showing himself prideful before the Most High God. And what does the scripture say in Proverbs 16 and 18? Pride comes before a fall. Are you going to say, Cap?
No, I was just going to finish reading.
Finish it out.
This is the book of Proverbs 16 and 18. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall.
Right before a fall. And let's go back and see what happens to Nicanor.
This is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 15 and verse 4. And when they said, there is in heaven the living Lord and mighty, and who commanded the seventh day to be kept. Then said the other, and I also am mighty upon earth, and I command him to take arms and to do the king's business. Yea, he obtained not to have his wicked will done. So Nicanor, in exceedingly pride and haughtiness, determined to set up a public monument of the victory over Judas and them that were with him.
So now he's plotting. He's saying he's gonna destroy Judas. He's gonna set up a statue. So everybody looks at this statue and says, "This is the man that overcame Judas Maccabees." Because mind you, when the heathens went against us, it wasn't in their minds. They're not just going against us. They're going against our God. So when we're in slavery, it's like in their minds our God is not real. That's why he commanded, is there even a God in heaven? I'm going to set up a statue right here in Jerusalem. So everybody sees this thing and say, I'm better than these people. I'm better than the power they worship. This is just a mind of a wicked man. Keep going.
Come. 2 Maccabees 15 and verse 7.
Mm-hmm.
But Maccabees had ever sure confidence that the Lord would help him.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore he exhorted his people to not fear the coming of the heathens against them,
Mm-hmm.
but remember the help which of former time they had received from heaven, and know to expect the victory and aid which should come unto them from the Almighty.
Mm-hmm.
And so comforted them out of the law and the prophets, and whether putting them in mind of the battle that won afore, he made them more cheerful. Come on, I got a precept. Give me Deuteronomy 21:4.
Good.
Because when he said he cheerful them and comfort them out of the prophets, out of the law. So what he did was reverence our forefathers and the victory that they had won, their children. Like give them a motivational speak. Y'all be alright, because God was always with us in these other battles, all throughout our forefather history. So we got to believe on the Lord. Read that up.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 20, verse 4.
Come on.
For the Lord your God is he that goeth with you.
Right, come on.
To fight for you.
To do what?
To fight for you.
So he was reminding them of this. Read on.
Against your enemies.
Against your enemies.
To save you.
To do what?
To save you.
So he was reminding them, remember the things that our Lord did before us before times. Come on.
And the officer shall speak unto the people, saying,
Read.
What man is there that have built a new house?
Come on.
And have not dedicated it?
Come on.
Let him go and return to his house.
Right, and this is what we're doing before we go into battle. Come on.
Lest he die in the battle,
right,
and another man dedicate it.
Come on.
And what man is he that hath planted a vineyard,
right,
and have not yet eaten of it?
Come on.
Let him also go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man eat of it.
Read.
And what man is there that hath betrothed a wife,
come on,
and have not taken her? Let him go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man take her.
Read.
And the officer shall speak unto the people.
The officer shall speak unto the people. Read.
And they shall say, What man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted?
Right, come on.
Let him go and return unto his house.
Right.
Lest his brethren's heart faint as well as his heart.
Right, because if you have a man in battle with you that's scared, he's going to make you scared as well. Right? You know what I'm saying? Read one more. You say the Lord thy God will fight with thee. Verse 4. 20 and 4.
Verse 4. For the Lord your God is he that goeth with you to fight for you.
That's right, because the Lord thy God is the one that go with thee to fight for thee. This is the power that the children of Israel had. We the only one had the true and living God that follow us and go before us in battle. Could you imagine that power there? Knowing that you're going to win every battle? All you have to do is be obedient and keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Read on.
Against your enemies to save you.
To do what?
To save you.
Come, and that was it. And God always went before us. So that's what Judas was reminding them of. Remember the battle that the Lord walked with us in battle and fought out there toe to toe with us. We never lost. Motivation, speak, and getting them encouraged for the battle.
Come. And one more precept on top of this start. Give me 1 Maccabees 2 and 67. Because the men that Judas Maccabees he has around him and he's exhorting to go against Nicanor, what type of men are they? Are they men that support the Greeks, that want to keep their children uncircumcised, that want to eat pork, crab, shrimp, or lobsters? No. These are a type of men that have the Spirit of the Most High God in their mind. They have the laws of the Most High God in their hearts. Read.
1 Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 67. Take also unto you all those that observe the law.
That what?
Observe the law.
That keep God's commandments. Keep going.
And avenge ye the wrong of your people.
And do what?
Revenge ye the wrong of your people.
Men like Nicanor. Keep going.
Recompense fully the heathen, and take heed to the commandments of the law.
And keep the commandments of God. Why? Because the Most High God, if we keep His laws, He's with us. and therefore we shall prosper. It doesn't matter if we're going against an army of 100 million. The Most High God is all we need. Because mind you, during this time, the Greeks conquered the world. When I mean the world, the neighboring nations. For example, the Moabites, the Ammonites, all the different nations that are around us, the Philistines, the Egyptians, they were all conquered by the Greeks. That's why you have places like in Alexandria, Egypt. It's named after a Greek. So this is what the people have in their mind, that they're going against a world power. Like we see, you live in America today, they're going against that of their time. Now let's go back to First Maccabees 15. You wanted to bring out more?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I got it. It's coming up later.
Good.
This is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 15, and verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
And so comforted them out of the law and in the prophets, and withal putting them in the mind of the battle that they won afore, he made them more cheerful.
Mm-hmm.
And when he had stirred up the minds, he gave them their charge, showing them withal the falsehood of the heathen and the breaches of the oath. Give me Psalms real quick, 52 and 2. Right. And he said the heathen always breaking the oath, meaning they never keep their word. They have false lips and a false tongue. And this is another Edomite, Dugag the Edomite. And David is going to tell you about him, because David encountered him in 1 Samuel 21:7. Read that.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 52, verse 2. Thy tongue deviseth mischiefs,
Right.
like a sharp razor, working deceitfully.
So this is David telling you about the Edomite man. He says tongue devises mischief, working deceitfully. He's telling you about the Edomite man. Read.
Thou lovest evil more than good.
They love evil more than good. Pushing homosexuality. All kind of abomination. They doing this. That spirit is still on to them to this day. Read.
And lying rather than to speak righteousness.
They lie rather than speak righteously. Every covenant they made with the Native American Indian, they broke it. Just like he broke the oath in against our forefather Judas. Just like he broke the oath with our forefather David. Read on.
Thou lovest all devouring words, O thou deceitful tongue.
O thou deceitful tongue, because this man is known to have a deceitful tongue. 2 Maccabees, chapter 15 and verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
Thus he armed every one of them, not so much with defense of shields and spears,
Mm-hmm.
as with comforting and good words. And besides that, he told them a dream worthy to be believed, as if it had been so indeed, which did not a little rejoice them. And this was his vision.
Stop right there. The Most High God, one of the most common ways the Most High God may speak to us in many different ways is a dream. The Most High may God will show you something. For example, Joseph. How did he show Joseph about a famine that was going to happen maybe 20, 30 years after he had a what? A dream. The Most High God showed him a dream. It may not have been, a movie, picture movie, but he showed him his intent. What was going to happen on the earth with a dream. The Most High God is showing Judas Maccabees right here what's going to happen. He's giving him a vision to encourage his people, man. Read.
Verse 12.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the vision, that Onias, who had been the high priest, and a virtuous and a good man,
Mm-hmm.
reverend in conversation.
What?
Reverend in conversation.
I mean, this was a man, when people spoke his name, they said he's a righteous man, he keeps God's commandments, he's loved and respected because he loves and respects the Most High God and his laws. And he was the former high priest. Read.
Gentle and condition.
Uh-huh.
Well spoken also.
Mm-hmm.
And exercised from child in all points of virtue.
Exercised from a child in all points of virtue, according to what? The law, statutes, and commandments. Keep going.
Holding up his hand, praying for the whole body of the Jews.
Of who?
Of the Jews.
No, all people.
Of the Jews.
He's praying. This is the man of the Most High God, the high priest of Israel, and he's praying for the whole body of our people, man. Let me get some more information on Onias. Get me Let me see. It's get me 2 Maccabees 3:1.
Come.
So we can further understand who this person is.
Page 141. This is the book of. You said first, second. This is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 3, and verse 1. Now, when the holy city was inhabited with all peace, and the laws were kept,
And what?
and the laws were kept
The laws of God were being exercised
very well,
very well, right? Read.
because of the godliness of Onias.
Because of what?
The godliness of Onias,
Onias was a godly man. He kept God's commandments. Who was he? Read.
the high priest,
And read.
and his hatred of wickedness.
He was the high priest of the Most High God, and he was running Jerusalem for a time, and he hated wickedness, man. This is the time when the Greeks was exercising homosexuality and all types of fornications. Everything was going good when this man was, there, because the Most High used him as a vessel to keep the wickedness at bay. Now let's go back where we were in 2 Maccabees 15.
This is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 15, verse 14. 13. This done in like manner, and prepared the men with gray hairs, and exceeding glorious, who was of the wonderful and excellent majesty. Then Onias answered, saying, This is a lover of the brethren, who prayed much for the people, and for the holy city, to wit, Jeremiah the prophet of God.
Now he sees the prophet Jeremiah the prophet of God. Now, these are all righteous men. Judas Maccabees is not seeing evil men in his vision. And that shows you that a man's legacy can live past his lifestyle if he keeps God's commandments. If you walk in Most High God's commandments, the men around you, the people of a nation that walk in the ways of the Most High God will always be there. Will always have a reverence in your memory. Get me Proverbs. Give me one sec. It is Proverbs 21 and 31.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 21 and verse 31. The horses is prepared against the day of battle, but safety is of the Most High.
So right here, the men prepare their carriages for war, but safety is of the Most High God, man. That's why the Most High is giving them this vision, to give them reassurance. Go back to 2 Maccabees 15.
Come. This is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 15, verse 15. Whereupon Jeremiah holding forth his right hand, gave to Judas a sword of gold, and given him it, and spake thus, Take this holy sword, a gift from God, with the which thou shalt wound the adversary. Thus being well comforted by the words of Judas, which were very good, and able to stir them up to valor, and to encourage the hearts of the young men, they determined not to pitch camp, but courageously to set upon them, and manfully to try the matter by conflict, because the city and the sanctuary and the temple were in danger.
Because of what?
The temple was in danger.
It says the city, the sanctuary, and the temple were in danger. Captain Inaw, tell me, why do we face Jerusalem?
Why do we face Jerusalem?
Okay.
That's where our holy city is.
And what else?
There was a certain prophet, it might have been Jeremiah, who he always faced the holy city when he prayed.
That sounds accurate. Let me get a clear answer. Get me 1 Kings 8 and 29. Our people have always faced Jerusalem. We have always prayed towards the east, because the Most High God, His land is there, His favorite city is there, and His temple is there.
8 and 29?
8 and 21. 1 Kings chapter 8 verse 29.
29, okay. Come. This is the book of 1 Kings chapter 8 and verse 29. That thine eyes may be open toward the house night and day, even toward the place of which thou hast said, my name shall be there, that thou mayest hearken unto the prayers which thy servants shall make towards this place.
Come on. The Most High God's temple is there, man. The place that the Most High God ordained for our people to worship Him, that where He said He put His name there, is there. That's why we face every Shabbat day. We face the east. We throw up the prayers because we hope that the Most High God can regather us and place us right back over there. You have anything to add to that, Captain?
No, not.
Come on.
No.
Go back.
This is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 15 and verse 19. Also, they that were in the city took not the least care, being troubled from the conflict abroad. And now, whereas all look that should be the trail, and the enemies were already come near, and the armies were set in array, and the beasts conveniently placed, and the horsemen set in wings. Maccabees, seeing the coming of the multitude and the diverse preparation of armor and the fierceness of the beast, stretched out his hand toward heaven and called upon the Most High that worketh wonders, knowing that victory cometh not by arm, but even as it seemeth good to him, he giveth it to such as are worthy. Therefore, in his prayers, he said after this manner, O Lord, thou didst send thy angel in the time of Ezekiel, king of Judah, and didst slay in the host of
Sennacherib
184,500. Verse 23. Therefore now know also, O Lord of heaven, send a good angel before us for the fear and dread unto them, and through the mighty of thy arms let those be stricken with terror that come against thy holy people to blaspheme. And he ended thus. Verse 25. Then Nicanor and they that were with him came forward with trumpets and songs, and Judas and his company encountered the enemy with invocation and prayers.
With what?
Invocation and prayers.
They're shouting up to all praises to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, because they're going into the war with the mentality like this: we have the God of heaven on our side. How can we lose? How can you lose if you already won the battle? The fight is fixed, like the priest can always say, because the Most High God, He's with His people, and the people they're keeping God's commandments as well. They're going against the heathens. You gotta imagine it, man. You got the Greeks, they got the horsemen, you got their armies that outnumber us by a lot, and they're surrounding our city. Any other people would flee. Anyone will come in will flee, but we have the God of heaven on our side, so we don't have to have that same fear as other men. Keep going.
27. So that fighteth with their hands and prayers unto the Most High with their hearts, they slew no less than 35,000 men. For though the appearance of God, they were greatly cheered.
Because the Most High God showed His presence, because the men, they won. They won the battle. Keep going.
Now when the battle was done, returning again with joy, they knew that Nicanor lay dead in his harness.
Most High God killed him. What says pride comes what?
Before fall.
And he died. Most High put him to death. Read.
Then they made a great shout and noise, praising the Almighty in their own language. And Judas, who was ever the chief defender of the citizens, both in body and in mind, and who continued his love toward his countrymen all his life, commanded to strike off Nicanor's head.
To do what?
To strike off Nicanor's head.
Because this is the same man. He said there's no power in heaven. Okay, he cut off his head as an example that there is a power in heaven, and he's with the children of Israel. Read.
And his hands and his shoulders,
And his what?
and his hands
He cut off his hand, read.
with his shoulders,
With his shoulders, man. Read.
and bring them to Jerusalem.
And bring them to Jerusalem.
Right. Give me a quick precept.
Of course.
Give me 1 Samuel 17 and 54. Because it was a thing when you read out through the Bible. Every time our forefathers cut their heads off, they'll bring it back to Jerusalem. I'm going to show you that David did the same thing. 1 Samuel 17 and 54.
This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 17, verse 54.
Read.
And David took the head of the Philistine.
This is Goliath. And David took the head of the Philistine. See, our forefathers was mighty men. Can you imagine us cutting a man's head off and bringing it back? I'm not going to bring it back. Because this was the type of men our forefather was. They had no mercy for the heathen. Read.
Yeah. And brought it to Jerusalem. And he put his armor in his tent.
Come. You know what I'm saying? That's the way our forefathers got down. They was mighty men. They didn't feel nothing. They was lying like men when you read through the scripture. All praise.
Okay.
Come. This is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 15 and verse 31. So when he was there and had called them of his nation together and sought the priests before the altar, he sat from them that were in the towers, and showed them vile Nicanor's head and the hands of that blasphemer, which with proud brags he had stretched out against the holy temple of the Almighty.
Stop right there. So Nicanor brought his head, his hands, and his shoulder to Jerusalem. He said, "This is the head, this is the hands, and this is the shoulder of the man that stretched out hands against the God of heaven." Read.
Come. And when they had cut off the tongue of that ungodly Nicanor, he commanded that they should give it by pieces unto the fowls.
Right here, you see. It looks cruel, but our people was these were righteous men. These weren't people that just wear suits and talk. All we need to get your tithes. That's it. Call it a day. These were warlike men that served the Most High God. He said, cut off his tongue, because with his tongue, he said there is no power, and he said, feed it to the birds. Read.
And hang up the reward of his madness before the temple.
Before the temple. Why before the temple? Because the presence of the Most High God is amongst the temple. He's amongst our people. He's all over the place, but it is there. Read.
Verse 34. So every man praised toward the heavens.
They did what?
Praise toward the heavens.
So they've seen this great salvation. What do you think the rest of our nation, even the men that are weak in the spirit, what are they going to do? They're going to praise towards heaven. That's going to build their spirit when they see men like this fall before the Most High God. Read.
And glory, so every man praised toward the heaven the glorious Lord, saying, blessed be he that has kept his own place undefiled, and hang also Nicanor's head upon the tower, an evident and manifest sign unto all of the helps of the Lord.
Of what?
A sign unto all the helps of the Lord.
So when people go into Jerusalem to offer their sacrifice, they like that's Nicanor's head. He spoke against the Lord.
Right.
It's a sign that the Most High God's with us, man. We have nothing to fear. Read.
And they ordained all with the coming decree, in no case to let that day pass without solemnity, but to celebrate.
To what?
To celebrate.
To give honor to it, to acknowledge it. Read.
But to celebrate the 13th day of the 12th month, which in the Assyrian tongue is called Adar.
It's called what?
Adar.
We're in the month of Adar. Read.
The day before Mordecai's day.
Mordecai's day. So the feast of Nicanor is always celebrated right before Mordecai's day, which is the feast of Purim.
Right.
I know we have precepts on that.
Come on, give me Esther 9 and 20. Esther 9, 20 and 21.
Okay. The book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 20. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the king of Ahasuerus,
Right.
both nigh and afar,
Come on.
to establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar.
The 14th day of the month Adar. When you read in Second Maccabees, it was the what? The 13th day. Letting you know the day of the Maccabees, the day of Nicanor is the day before the day of Purim. And then you can see the way the Bible flows cohesively with the Apocrypha. You know what I'm saying? So when they be talking about the Apocrypha ain't part of the book that lie, it flows cohesively with each other. Read.
And the 15th day of the same yearly.
The yearly, right? And that was called the Feast of Purim. Come, go back to first, Second Maccabees, Salaki. Verse 37. Thus went it with Nicanor, and from the time forth the Hebrews had the city in their power. And here will I make an end. And if I have done well, and as if fitting the story, it is that which I desire. But if slenderly and meanly, it is that which I could attain unto.
Come. So that is why we celebrate the Feast of Nicanor, to give honor to this event, because it was a time where the Most High God delivered our people from our enemies, when there is little hope. It was a time when our people was in slavery amongst the Greeks. And you know, as you know, the story of Judas Maccabees and the things that he went through in his life and his family, we had little hope. That's why we celebrate this feast day. You know, I want to say Shalom to the nation of Israel. What is it?
Judas 5 and 20.
Judas 5 and 20? Let's get that.
Come. This is the book of Judas, chapter 5 and verse 20. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people,
what?
If it be any error in this people, and they sin against their God,
If they do what?
and they sin against their God,
So the power to defeat our people is in what? If we do what?
Sin.
If we sin, if we're in iniquity, the Most High God's not going to protect us, and the heathens are going to destroy our people, man, on this earth. Like you see our people today, and it destroys Satan, because most of our people is in iniquity, man. So the power that we have against the heathens is in the hands of the Most High God, if we keep His commandments. Read.
let us consider that this shall be their ruin.
It shall be their what?
Their ruin.
It shall be their ruin. Our people was keeping God's commandments. They were walking in His ways. When Nicanor came against the city, and what happened? It was his ruin. We took his head.
Right.
Come on.
And let us go up. Let us go up, and well we shall overcome them.
Come on.
But if there be no iniquity in their nation,
If there's no sin, read.
let my Lord now pass by. Let their Lord defend them.
He said, wait. He said, let thy Lord pass by. He said, if we keeping God's commandments, don't even go to Jerusalem. Don't walk in that direction. Don't look in that direction. Because you're going to die. Read.
Let their God defend them.
Let their who?
Let their God defend
The
them.
Most High God of power, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Read.
And their God be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world.
A reproach. And that's what happened with Nicanor. When his head was on a pike in Jerusalem, he was a reproach. When people see him, he says, he's nobody.
Right. Come on, I got one more precept.
Let me read, what is it?
Ecclesiastes 32 and 1.
Bring it out.
You said Ecclesiastes what?
Sirach 32 and 1.
Oh,
My bad.
man.
My bad. I like it.
Sirach 32 verse 1.
Right.
If thou be made the master of a feast.
Right. So we get ready to have a feast, brothers and sisters. Read.
Lift not thyself up, but be among them as one of the rest.
That's right. Let's be equal in brotherhood and sisterhood, in love with the Most High and His Son, in the feast, the great war that our forefathers had, in defeating the heathens, and we're going to defeat them again, and we're going to be sowing all their heads again. Read.
Take diligent care for them, and so sit down.
Read.
And when thou hast done all thy office,
When you have done all your office, we gonna set up the feast and got everything ready, food in place, drink in place, bodies in place. Read.
take thy place,
Read.
that thou mayest be married
Right.
with them, and receive a crown for thy well ordering of the feast.
Right. Come. You know what I'm saying? The well ordering of the feast. So that's feast and be married.
We gotta be merry on this. We gotta be happy, man,
Right.
because this is a day the Most High God show His power and deliver our people from oppression, man. So that's what we're gonna do tonight in the Feast of Nicanor, man. We're gonna be in a spirit of brotherhood. We're gonna drink. We're gonna eat, and we're gonna be merry. We're gonna praise. We're gonna praise the Most High God at the same time. Come on. Our praises. I hope you enjoyed tonight. Shalom. Let's get a song. I'm not.
Hey, sing it to you. How was a good one for the